Hello there, very good morning and welcome to Breakfast News, where we get you the news you probably missed last evening and also a look ahead to the day's news. I'm Tracy Shilshi and here are the headlines for this hour. Voting begins for the second and final phase of Gujarat elections, polling for 93 seats across 14 districts in north and central part of the state. Fate of 851 candidates, including Deputy Chief Minister Nitin Patel and Congress leader Alpesh Thakur, to be sealed. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says government is working to strengthen the banking system, says NPAs are a legacy problem left behind by the UPA. Congress refutes the charge. Deadline for linking Aadhaar with bank accounts are extended till the 31st of March 2018. Supreme Court Constitution Bench to begin hearings on petitions challenging the validity of the Aadhaar scheme from today. British Prime Minister Theresa May suffers a setback on key Brexit vote. UK MPs support an amendment to the EU withdrawal bill, giving Parliament legal guarantee of a vote on the final Brexit deal. And India beat Sri Lanka by 141 runs in the second one-day international level 3-match series 1-all. PV Sindhu gets off to a winning start at the Dubai Super Series final badminton tournament. Voting for the second and final phase of Gujarat Assembly elections is underway in 93 constituencies. Let's get you all the details. Well, over 2 crore 22 lakh people, including 1 crore 7 lakh women, are eligible to vote in this phase. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be casting his vote in Ahmedabad. Many other senior leaders, including BJP President Amit Shah and Finance Minister Arun Jaitley, who is a member of Rajya Sabha from BJP representing Gujarat, will also be casting their votes. 14 districts across north and central Gujarat are voting in this phase.
The second phase of the high-stakes election, with BJP making a bid for the 5th term and the Congress attempting an electoral revival, is being held today. Polling for the second and last phase of the Gujarat elections includes northern, central and tribal areas. Of the 93 constituencies voting, 52 were won by the BJP and 39 by the Congress in 2012. The second phase is crucial because North Gujarat was the epicenter of the Patidar reservation stir. The region, with 53 seats, has been a stronghold of the BJP, which won 32 seats in 2012, with Congress taking 21.
Of course, it is very crucial because North Gujarat has been the epicenter of the Patidar reservation agitation. And Congress hopes to do well this time. Last time they won 22 seats. This time they hope to increase their tally. So for Congress, the North Gujarat election is very crucial. For the BJP as well.
A total of 851 candidates are in the fray for the second phase, while 2.22 crore people are eligible to exercise their franchise. The smallest constituency is Daryapur and the largest is Radhanpur. By size of the electorate, the smallest is Limkheda constituency with 1,87,245 voters, and the largest is Ghatlodia with 3,52,316 voters.
मुद्दा ये है कि बेरोजगारी हटाओ और ये इंडिया को आगे बढ़ाओ।
लड़कियां सुरक्षित रहे, अकेली आ जा सके, रात को भी ऐसे उनकी सुरक्षा होनी चाहिए। पढ़ाना लिखाना आगे बढ़ाना, लड़कियों को आगे बढ़ाओ।
The Election Commission had on Tuesday ordered repolling in 6 booths, where first phase polling was held on 9th December. These repolls were being held today. The presiding officers of these booths had forgotten to wipe out the mock drill poll results, necessitating the re-election. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
And now let's take a quick look at some of the prominent contestants in this phase. Deputy Chief Minister of Gujarat Nitin Patel is contesting from the Mehsana seat. Alpesh Thakur, who is the Congress's candidate, is contesting from Radhanpur. And Jignesh Mevani, the prominent Dalit face of these elections, is contesting as an independent from Vadgam. And the leader of the Congress Legislative Party, Mohan Singh Rathwa, is contesting from the tribal constituency of Chota Udaipur. All right, for more on what to expect from Ahmedabad specifically, we've got our correspondent Kriti Mishra joining us now on the phone line. Kriti, one thing for sure, we're going to be seeing the Prime Minister casting his vote. When do we expect that?
Right, so we are at the polling station in Sabarmati area at Nishan School, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi is expected to cast his ballot around 11:30 in the morning. So elaborate security arrangement is in place. There's 3-tiered security layer. But remember, this is not specifically for this particular polling station. This is a kind of security arrangement that has been put in place across 93 constituencies for the second phase. So certainly people have started turning up since morning. They've started queuing up. And the momentum is also building. So let's expect that last year we saw around over 70% voter turnout. This year, let's expect that the voter turnout is even more impressive. Over to you.
Absolutely. And 68% is what we saw in the first phase. We may expect nothing less, of course, from the second phase in the areas around there, which also includes the urban Gujarat, really. Kriti, earlier in the first phase, we saw a lot of excitement regarding VVPATs and also the Sakhi polling stations. Give us an idea, what is it that is, pulling in the voters this time, the issues that they're going to be voting for?
All right, so there are several issues. Of course, the complicated card maze tricks would also be at play. But as far as issues are concerned, there are issues of development, there are issues of security of women, employment, education, sanitation, nutrition among women. So several issues are there that people would be keeping in their mind while they be casting their vote. But remember, the important point here that we need to underline is that it is extremely crucial for both BJP. It is a matter of prestige where it is seeking to keep its hegemony intact, while the Congress has made attempts to best BJP's.
All right, we seem to have lost the connection with Kriti. We'll, of course, get back to her in the next hour as well in our Hindi News Bulletin, where we'll try and speak to her and talk about, of course, the issues and also the personalities that really took over most of the issues in some parts of the campaigning that we saw. And we'll keep an eye on all developments that we'll be getting in today on voting day. Meanwhile, the Election Commission on Wednesday issued a show-cause notice to Congress President-elect Rahul Gandhi for prima facie violating the provisions of the election rules. The EC asked Gandhi to respond to the notice latest by the 18th of December evening as to why action should not be taken against him. The EC says that the display of his interviews by TV channels fell within the definition of election matter under the Representation of the People's Act, and the telecast within 48 hours ending with the hour fixed for the conclusion of the poll amounted to violation of the Act. The poll body, in its 2-page order, said that it will decide the matter without any reference to him if he fails to respond to the notice. The EC has also asked TV channels to immediately stop airing his interviews. It also directed the Gujarat poll authorities to lodge an FIR against anyone for infringement of legal provisions.
ना संविधान धारा 324 में, ना कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट के मापदंडों में ये आता, ये सीधे प्रेस को दबाने की एक कोशिश है.
It was patently evident that they have violated the model code of conduct. जो गुजरात के अंदर ही इस प्रकार की प्रचार का कार्यक्रम चालू रखा कल शाम के बाद, जो जब प्रचार बंद हो जाना चाहिए था, ये बड़े दुर्भाग्य की बात है और इलेक्शन कमीशन ने सही निर्णय लिया है.
In other national news, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has allayed fears over the bail-in provision in a new proposed banking law. Speaking at a FICCI event in Delhi on Wednesday, the Prime Minister dismissed rumours that banks will forfeit a major portion of deposits made by account holders in case of a financial crisis. He said that the government is trying to strengthen the banking system to protect the interests of both the depositors as well as the banks. He also attacked the previous UPA government for the bad loans problems in India.
Speaking at the 90th Annual General Meeting of Industry Association FICCI, Prime Minister Narendra Modi launched a blistering attack on opposition Congress. Modi said under the UPA regime, banks were pressured to give loans worth thousands of crore to select industrialists.
इस दौरान कुछ बड़े-बड़े उद्योगपतियों को लाखों करोड़ों के लोन दिए गए, बैंकों पर दबाव डाल करके पैसा दिलवाया गया। ये आजकल नॉन परफॉर्मिंग एसेट्स एनपीए का जो हल्ला मच रहा है, वो पहले की सरकार में बैठे अर्थशास्त्रियों की इस सरकार को दी गई सबसे बड़ी लायबिलिटी है।
Listing out his government's pro-poor policies, the Prime Minister said 87 reforms in 21 sectors have been undertaken in the last 3 years to overhaul the economy.
हमारी सरकार ने लोगों की समस्याओं, उनकी आवश्यकताओं को ध्यान में रखते हुए अपनी योजनाएं बनाने का निरंतर प्रयास किया है। लोगों की जिंदगी आसान बने, ईज ऑफ लिविंग बढ़े, इस विजन को हमने प्राथमिकता दी है।
He added that his government is building a system that is transparent, sensitive and understands people's needs. He also assured people that their bank deposits will be safe and that their interests will not be harmed in any way. His assurance came amid worries over what is being called a bail-in provision in a new proposed banking law. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And the Congress was swift in reacting on the Prime Minister's allegations. Listen in.
लाखों रुपए के कर्जे इनके निकट के उद्योगपतियों के माफ हुए हैं। आज एनपीएस बढ़े हैं, इनके शासनकाल में लगभग 4.5 लाख करोड़। जवाब दें। अगर हम पे आरोप लगाते हैं, उनकी पुरानी आदत है दूसरे की तरफ उंगली उठा दो और गलती खुद करते रहो।
In other news, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will dedicate the naval submarine INS Kalvari to the nation today. The Prime Minister is in Mumbai for the ceremony that will be attended by Defence Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, Navy Chief Admiral Sunil Lamba and other senior officials of the Navy and the Maharashtra government. After addressing the gathering during the commissioning ceremony, he will also undertake a visit of the Scorpene-class submarine. INS Kalvari, a diesel-electric attack submarine, is the first of 6 Scorpene-class submarines handed over by the shipbuilder Mazgaon Dock Limited. The Scorpenes are being built under Project 75 with the transfer of technology from a foreign collaborator, DCNS of France. The government has called for an all-party meeting today at 5 p.m. ahead of the winter session of Parliament that begins tomorrow. Union Parliamentary Affairs Minister Anant Kumar has convened the meeting at the Parliament Library building. The meeting has been called to ensure smooth functioning of both the houses during the session that will last till the 5th of January. Lok Sabha Speaker too has called an all-party meeting today ahead of the winter session. Meanwhile, opposition parties will also be holding a separate meeting to chalk out their floor strategy at 4 p.m. today. Besides the Congress, leaders of the left parties, Samajwadi Party, BSP, NCP and others are expected to take part in the meeting. A quick break here. Up next, we'll get you more national and the top international stories.
There has been a perception that the government was trying to defer the winter session of Parliament because of the Gujarat polls.
सबसे बड़ी बात यह है कि हमको कैसा पार्लियामेंट का सेशन चाहिए, ऐसा जो वर्किंग हो या ऐसा जो नाम का हो।
एक और जो एक्यूजेशन ऑपोजिशन की तरफ से आया था that the government is trying to avoid the debate and discussion on crucial issues like these GST, sliding economy, demonetization.
ये आज से 20 साल पहले कहते ना तो ज़्यादा अच्छा था।
मणिशंकर अय्यर जो है अभी एक रिमार्क प्राइम मिनिस्टर नरेंद्र मोदी पर किया था, उसको आप काउंटर करेंगे या किसी तरीके का आप इस पर चर्चा चाहेंगे?
उसके ऊपर कांग्रेस ने उनको पार्टी से निलंबित भी कर दिया है, तो कांग्रेस ने एक तरह से ये माना है इस बात के लिए कि उनका जो रिमार्क था वो अच्छा नहीं था, खासतौर से प्राइम मिनिस्टर के लिए इस भाषा का प्रयोग करना।
Watch to the point with Minister of State for Parliamentary Affairs Vijay Goyal only on Rajya Sabha television.
Rabindranath Tagore was awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1913 for his book Gitanjali. In 1950, he composed the music and lyrics for India's national anthem, Jana Gana Mana. And when Bangladesh became independent in 1971, they chose Tagore's song, Amar Shonar Bangla, as its national anthem. Tagore's life and works have made him a cultural icon, studied the world over, even into the 21st century.
Art arisen from a multi-hued cultural canvas. Tradition and cultural fervour dating back centuries. And encircling them all, there's a magic that awes. Embrace your nation's brilliant human warmth. Watch Colours of India, Sundays at 9:30 p.m. on Rajya Sabha television.
Ghatam, one of the oldest and most unique percussion instruments of southern India. You can play it not only with your fingers, but palms, wrists and heels as well. You'll be surprised, but the air inside the Ghatam reverberates, creating the musical notes. 5 elements of nature, earth, water, air, fire and space make up the composition of this beautiful musical piece, which has found an apt place in most of the ancient books.
Welcome back. Let's get you some more national news. And the government on Wednesday extended the deadline for mandatory quoting of Aadhaar for bank accounts and certain financial transactions. It has extended the deadline by 3 months till 31st of March 2018. The government had made quoting of the 12-digit biometric identifier Aadhaar mandatory for old and new bank accounts, as well as for any financial transaction of 50,000 rupees and above. The previous deadline was 31st of December. The decision to extend the deadline was reportedly taken after various representations as well as inputs received from banks. Last week, the deadline for linking PAN with Aadhaar too was extended by 3 months to 31st of March 2018. A special CBI court will hear the arguments on the quantum of punishment for convicted former Jharkhand Chief Minister Madhu Koda in a coal scam case. On Wednesday, the special CBI judge Bharat Parashar had held Koda and former coal secretary H.C. Gupta guilty of corruption and other charges. The others accused include former Jharkhand Chief Secretary A.K. Basu and private company Vinny Iron and Steel Udyog Limited. They were found guilty of varying offences, including criminal conspiracy in the case pertaining to irregularities in allocation of Rajhara North Coal Block in Jharkhand to Kolkata-based VISUL. As the accused were convicted, they refuted the allegations levelled against them.
उस समय बड़ी बेतरतीब काम हुए और आगे आने वाली सभी सरकारों को इससे सबक लेना चाहिए, जो अपने किसी पद पर हैं और पद के प्रभाव का उपयोग करके जो भी उल्टा सीधा करते रहते हैं, तो आज नहीं कल जरूर वो पकड़े जाएंगे।
जो तथ्य है उन तथ्यों को भी मैं समझता हूँ कि बेहतर तरीके से प्रस्तुत करके जो ओरिजिनलिटी है, जो उसमें जो तथ्य छिपे हुए हैं, उसका उजागर जरूर होना चाहिए।
The Supreme Court on Wednesday gave its green signal for enforcement of a comprehensive action plan to deal with the pollution crisis in Delhi NCR. The court permitted the centre to modify the notification banning the use of pet coke and furnace oil in Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan and Haryana for industries like cement, limestone and thermal power plants. While cement and lime industries use pet coke, thermal power plants use furnace oil. The court directed the Ministry of Environment and Forests to come out with regulations for the sale of pet coke and fix emission standards for thermal power plants. The bench also added that the notification might be modified after the regulations were finalized and put in place. Regarding the use of furnace oil in thermal power plants, the court said that it can be used till the 31st of December 2018 and added that thermal power plants would have to switch over to alternative fuel within a year. The court said that other issues, including diesel cars and implementation of the BS6 norm, would be considered on the next date of hearing in January. The National Green Tribunal also declared Amarnath Cave Shrine a silent zone. The tribunal prohibited religious offerings beyond the entry point and issued a slew of orders to be implemented by the Amarnath Shrine Board. It also asked the board to ensure proper infrastructure of the pilgrims so that they are not deprived of a clear sight while also maintaining the ecology of the area. The Green Body also directed the committee of experts headed by an additional secretary of the Ministry of Environment and Forests to submit an action plan on providing facilities to the pilgrims within 3 weeks. The Madhya Pradesh government on Wednesday approved a fund of 7,546 crore rupees for the Narmada Parvati linking river projects. The project seeks to create irrigation facilities on 2 lakh hectares of agricultural land in Malwa region of the state. On Tuesday, the Narmada Control Board held a meeting chaired by Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan that approved the linking of both the rivers, Narmada and Parvati. The project is expected to be completed in 4 phases. Each phase is expected to irrigate at least 50,000 hectares. The river linking project will benefit farmers of 369 villages of Sehor and Shahjapur districts. The board also approved a 41.41 crore rupee proposal to construct 92 Narmada Yatri Niwas buildings on the 1100-kilometer long Narmada Parikrama route passing through 16 districts. On to the top international story this morning. British Prime Minister Theresa May has suffered a setback on a crucial Brexit vote in the UK Parliament. The 650-seat Parliament voted 309 to 305 in favour of an amendment to hand lawmakers more say over a final exit deal with the EU. May lost the crucial vote after a rebellion within her own party. Members of Parliament in Britain are debating the EU withdrawal bill, which will repeal the 1972 legislation binding Britain to the EU and copy the existing EU law into domestic law to ensure legal continuity after exit day on the 29th of March 2019. In focus on Wednesday was an amendment put forward by a Conservative lawmaker who wants Parliament to have a meaningful vote on any deal before it is finalised and for it to be written into law. The UK government said that it was disappointed by the vote.
I'm sure you want to hear the result to make sure it is correct. The ayes to the right, 309. The noes to the left, 305. The ayes have it, the ayes have it. A lot.
And now to the top sports stories. India defeated Sri Lanka by 141 runs in the second ODI in Mohali to level the series 1-all. Chasing a target of 393, the Lankans got off to a poor start as they kept losing wickets at regular intervals. Upul Taranga and Danshuka Gunatilak were dismissed early by seamers Jasprit Bumrah and Bhuvneshwar Kumar. Angelo Matthews scored an unbeaten 111 runs, but there was no big contribution from the other end. Yuzvendra Chahar was the pick of the bowlers for the Indian side as he picked 3 wickets. Earlier, when put in, India scored a massive 392 for the loss of 4 wickets. Opener Shikhar Dhawan scored 68 runs while Shreyas Iyer made 88 off just 70 balls. But stand-in skipper Rohit Sharma scored an unbeaten 208 with 13 fours and 12 sixes and became the only player to score 3 double centuries in ODIs. He also registered the second highest individual score by a captain in the 50-over format, second only to Virendra Sehwag, who scored 219 against West Indies in Indore in 2011.
He's decimated the opposition.
Having had a loss in the first game and we wanted to come back as a batting group. So this was again important. It is my first captaincy stint and you know, I as a batsman first, then the captain. As a batsman I wanted to do well, just to take my team into good positions all the time. I'm someone who doesn't look too far ahead. So I won't be talking about what we have to do in South Africa and all that. I've been appointed as the captain for the first time of this team, and my job here is very, very important, and I'm only thinking about this particular series right now.
I think their plan to bowl white jokers, only thing is they didn't execute well, and you have to give credit to Rohit. That's outstanding inning, and 390 I think too far for us.
And more good news for India. Ace Indian shuttler PV Sindhu made a positive start to her campaign at the Dubai Super Series final. Sindhu defeated China's world number 9 He Bingjiao 21-11, 16-21, 21-18 in a Group A match of the women's singles. Sindhu will next face Japan's Sayaka Sato in the next match. In the men's singles Group B match, Kidambi Srikanth lost to world number 1 Victor Axelsen 13-21, 17-21. Srikanth will take on Chinese Taipei's Chou Ten-Chen in the next match. There are 8 players in each category who have been divided into 2 groups in this tournament. And that's it on the Breakfast News. Thank you for joining us.